Hi, my name is Olga Noel and I make ball jointed dolls. Today I'll show you how I painted a resin doll's face. This is a face of a doll I made last year. Her name is Time and she's a part of 6B Dolls' first collection, 3 of Cups. This is several hours of footage compressed into 9 minutes. I hope you have fun watching it and don't forget to subscribe. Also, there is a tiny story connected to this face up. Let me tell you, because 9 minutes of me painting and music is not my idea of fun. The title of this story is Dear Me, Have Your Camera On at All Times. Not the best title in the world, but the story is good, I promise. For several years now, I've been trying to capture what I do, to share the skills I acquired, but every time I turn my camera on, I freeze. It's usually not an obvious thing, not like an in-your-face freeze. It stems from childhood, no surprise there, and I mask it. I use aggressive editing for it, and if it's aggressive enough, you feel like I know what I'm doing. Every single stroke becomes deliberate and leads us to an inevitable but perfect result. The downside here is I stop experimenting, and this is basically the main skill I have. I also avoid making mistakes, and this is the second best skill. And the mere thought of people seeing my mistakes and judging me and saying that I'm not an expert and exposing me for the fraud I am terrifies the living hell out of me. So the scariest thing that grew out of these two is two completely unrelated things getting linked, getting connected in my head. I'm thinking that if I turn my camera on, I make mistakes, and then I have to redo everything off camera. That turned into another big problem. Camera became my enemy, and this is not the best thing in 2023. As soon as I understood what happened there, I got two sort of separate thought streams. One was all about my camera being off until I became a pro at any given process. The broken thing here is as soon as I master something, as soon as I am my best self, the dopamine is gone. The joy is not there anymore. I love learning, as you probably remember from my previous videos, and the mastered skill is sort of like an empty jar. There is no passion inside. This is just means to an end. This is just a skill that is perfect, but the passion is gone and it's sort of boring. The second thought stream was a little bit better, and it was about me having my camera on at all times. This is how I decided to fight the freeze, basically. It would be exhausting at first, I understood that, but at some point I thought I'd stop seeing the camera altogether, because nobody can stay frozen forever. Moreover, I lack attention span to remember that the camera is on. And this sort of, I hoped, will help me figure out that the camera is not a bad guy here. Camera is not here to capture my failures or to shame me for them or expose me. Because firstly, it's not true. I chose to switch the camera on, and secondly, there is another choice here. I decide if I want to show the footage anywhere or not, and I can be uncomfortable. It's okay. And I don't have to show it to anybody. I can delete it. I can do whatever I want with the footage I have. It was a shocking thought, not gonna lie, but this was what ultimately convinced me that I had to take the second stream more seriously and have my camera on at all times. And this is where I'm holding my hand right now. I sort of figured out that experiments don't always work. You make mistakes and you redo things, and it doesn't really matter if the camera is on or off or somewhere on and forgotten. This particular face app is a perfect example of this story. I honestly came to this realization a little bit later than I painted this particular girl, but this is really a nice example of what I'm talking about. This particular face app went south fast. It was not the best lighting. Also, it was not the best camera holder. If you film something and you have the holder that is perfect for you, please send a link my way anywhere, DM me, or just write me a comment here. I'd try anything new at this point. Back to the face app. the shimmer. The shimmer paint for this unknown skin tone was just really hard to manage. This was my first doll in tan. I usually work with a lighter resin, and this was my first tan girl, and I was like, every single process with her was a first for me. It took me half a day to realize that victory is just not in the cards for me. But I went on and I figured out that if I finish this face up, I will gain more experience, I will experiment, and if I make mistakes, they are not as scary because I sort of understand that this is a trial run. So at this point, you see me lightly tapping the Madder Lake pastel in the outer lower corner of her eyes and brushing the excess off. And I already know that this face app is not going to be my final product. Was it frustrating? Yes, it definitely was. But I kept pushing and now I'm so very glad I did. On the screen here, you can see me mixing Van Dyke Brown with burnt sienna and just a smidge of yellow ochre and painting the most adorable freckles in the world. And now, all I want to do is, as soon as I'm done with all my orders, to make a full set girl, a tan girl, where the freckles are all over the place. And she has a short white curly bob and glasses, and I honestly can't wait to make her live. And on the screen, everything I'm thinking about is why? Why am I trying so hard? What's the point? Isn't it better to just, I don't know, leave it be? Won't it be best to start all over again right away? And why am I wasting my time? I already figured out how the pastel is on this skin tone. I already figured out the color of her lashes and brows and lips, and just maybe I should stop right now. But I didn't, to now realize I recorded the best freckles in the world. As a result of this rule of my camera being on at all times, I recorded so much. And I don't really know if you had any editing experience, but when you edit, you rewatch those little clips at least 5 times over. And when you get those juiciest parts for the viewers, you understand that you grew. Also, it's free content. Who's gonna complain about that? I'll be making more real-time, slower videos for my Patreon with all the comments and explanations of why I did what I did. If you're interested and want to learn more about making PJDs, feel free to join. Links are always down below. Also, I'm so very glad that my 6 years in therapy gave me this opportunity to understand what was happening, voice it, and tell the story to you. Don't be afraid. This is the main thing here. The thought of people seeing how imperfect you are in your art is very scary, but one step to overcome it is doing exactly what it forbids you. I really hope you enjoyed my story, the face app, and if you experienced something similar, do share. Also, it's probably time to show you what was wrong with this face. Here are 2 pictures side by side of the face, and the eyeliner on the left is a bit uneven and inflated. It's shimmery, that's probably why you can't really see it on the video, but I still got a freckly Egyptian goddess. Loved it. As usual, subscribe, like, comment, and bye!